project is all about inspiring, communicating and demonstrating positive change and transformation. So today we're living in a time of planetary emergency. We've got rapid climate change, we've got biodiversity loss, we've got pollution, and we've just got degradation of the planet and also human health as part of that. I'm Sarah Peake and my title here is Content Curation Manager. Eden Project all started back in 1995 when Sir Tim Smith got together with a small group of people and they really wanted to communicate to the world the importance of plants. And that opportunity came with something called the Millennium Commission. So they were putting out a call for projects that would mark and celebrate the turn of the century. So Eden was first pitched to the Millennium Commission, and actually to start with the project was turned down, but of course Tim and that group of people didn't stop there. So eventually we were awarded that funding and the Eden Project finally opened its doors in 2001. The original concept for Eden was to be a living theatre of plants and people. And the biomes that you can see in the background were actually inspired from the structure of bubbles. And the architects were actually inspired through doing the washing up and seeing those soap bubbles and realising that actually bubbles can settle on any uneven surface. Obviously here today we're in what was once a working China clay mine. The surface is very uneven. So taking that inspiration, the biomes were formed inspired by the shape of bubbles and also natural shapes that appear everywhere in nature. So the hexagons you can see are actually something that nature does at all scales and is a very kind of strong shape. The materials that the biomes are kind of created from are very long-lasting and very sustainable, and the energy systems and the watering systems inside the biomes themselves are actually really efficient. So in terms of how the air is moving through the space and how it's regulating the climate in there, and also in terms of all of the water that we use here is recycled to then water the plants. So everything we do here is about inspiring positive change to address and respond to the planetary emergency. And we do that for a whole range of things. So we've got obviously the destination itself, and within the destination we bring stories to life through exhibits and plant displays. We have a team of storytellers that engage and communicate with the public. We also have a schools team, a higher education team, and a whole raft and range of different community projects. Climate change today is primarily due to the human use of fossil fuels to power our lives and our society. Now, although that's brought us many of the great benefits that we all really appreciate and enjoy today, there was a massive catch, and that is obviously that burning fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Now, this gas acts to trap heat, and so the Earth is warmed rapidly. It's actually today around 1.3 degrees on average warmer than it was in pre-industrial times. Now that doesn't sound like much, but actually a little bit more than that, and you're starting to look at a huge range of people and different species suffering quite serious impacts of climate change. So Eden is now over 20 years old, and we're starting to look at how we can scale up our mission and our communication to the world. And so we're doing that through numerous different platforms. So one is that we're looking at building different destinations. So we have a couple planned, one in the north of England in Morecambe and one in Dundee in Scotland. In addition to that, all of our destinations will be supported by a whole raft and range of education projects and social community projects as well. So by having those different destinations, it gives us that base, that backdrop to draw people into the site, connect with our stories, connect with each other, and hopefully grow our movement really of trying to respond to the planetary emergency and working towards a better future. So at Eden, we say there's a whole range of things that you can do in your own life to become more environmentally friendly or help look after the planet. And it's not really about doing all of those things, it's more about picking the thing that you're particularly good at or you're particularly inspired by. So we quite often talk about things in terms of you could be a doer and get involved in different projects, or you could be a shopper and really start to think more about the things you're buying and how that's impacting the planet. You could be a learner, so you might choose very much to dedicate your life and your career into something that is looking after the planet. So some of the core things we talk about here at the destination in our exhibits and our planting is actually to do with food and what we eat. So food is actually, and the food production system is actually the main driver of biodiversity loss through the ages and a big contributor to climate change as well. And it's also something that we literally do all the time, definitely 3 times a day, thinking about what we're eating and what we're buying to feed ourselves. So actually that's quite a powerful source of agency for a lot of people. So actually starting with food and thinking about what you're eating, whether you are vegan, veggie, or choose to be a meat eater, you can learn more about your food and of the ways it's produced and where it comes from, and make some decisions that actually make a big difference to the planet.